Okay. There's that. Alright. You don't have to look at the computer. I need you to state...
Is the computer looking at me?
Yes, the computer's looking at you.
Well, then I have to look at the computer. What do you want?
I need you to state your name. State your name.
Full name?
Dave, I only have 30 minutes.
Hi, David Mortimer.
What do you do?
I'm a plumber, scientific glassblower, genius.
Where do you live?
Runnels, Iowa.
Where are you from?
Jacksonville, Florida, born.
How long did you live in Jacksonville?
20 plus years, 25, 28 years.
Where did you go to school?
West Nassau High School, Callahan, Florida.
Is that close to Jacksonville, or?
It's about 15, 20 miles outside of Jacksonville.
Okay. What's your family like? Little family history. Parents grow up in Jacksonville, Florida.
Father was from New Haven, Connecticut. My mother was born in the South in Jacksonville. Father was in the service, met my mom, and married her, and stayed in the South.
How many siblings do you have?
Sister, 2 brothers, all older.
Okay. Did any of them play sports?
Yes.
What do they play?
Football.
Football?
Yeah.
Both brothers?
Yep.
Okay. And what did you play in high school?
Football.
Football? How many years did you play football?
1 year.
Why only 1 year?
I tore up my knee.
How did that happen?
One of the guys going to make a goal used me as a stepping stone. My own team.
Ow. What was my next question? Oh yeah. So what was football like? What year did you play football?
Played 1976 and 1977.
Okay.
That year.
That year? That.
The bicentennial year, yeah.
Okay. So what was football like that year for you?
Interesting.
How so?
Because the football coach pulled me out of the lunch line, said, "See you this afternoon at practice." That's how we got elected to play football.
So you had no plans before that?
Not really. I figured they were crazy, but it was fun. I have to admit. It was a lot of hard work, but it was fun.
Did you have any interest in sports before that?
I'd watched some, yeah. I'd seen some. I'd played softball back 6th, 7th grade. That's about it.
That's about it?
Yeah, that was about it, yeah.
So...
I mean, I'd watched it on TV and stuff like that, but I mean, I wasn't like a diehard fan of anything.
Didn't have a favorite
Still
team?
Not. Still not. Well, I'm in for Florida now. It's everything Florida.
Everything Florida?
Yeah. Miami, the Hurricanes, Florida Gators, the Seminoles, things like that. I don't really follow it still, but yeah, I wish they'd go win. So. I'm just a Southern boy.
Was football a really big thing at your high school?
Yes. Yes. There was a rivalry between us and another school in the same county, and it was redneck football.
Well, what does redneck football mean?
We broke the quarterback's fingers 1 year. I didn't do it personally. It just happened. But our practices were kind of rough. Just on it, we broke our own backup quarterback's leg in practice. Yes.
Oh. So
that's what I call redneck football. It wasn't as controlled.
What was that as controlled?
Well, when I say controlled, it wasn't as y'all play nice, don't hurt each other. It was, if you hurt your opponent, then you're good. So that's how it was. I'm sorry. That's how it was back then.
So did you break your own quarterback's fingers, or
No,
did you break the opposing
the rival schools? Yeah.
And the umpires didn't see, or
well, yeah, we got
refs
called a flag on it, and somebody got put out of the game, but it was an accident. They said.
So there was definitely a drive in your school to do well at
football. I knew players that were injured during the game, and they would just tell the coach, and I saw it numerous times, just tape it up. I mean, we had one guy broke a wrist and they just taped it up, and he went right back in the game. It wasn't like they went, we want you to go into the game. We're going to tape you up and send you back in. It was, no, tape me up. I'm going back in the game.
Wow.
Yep.
So you definitely see a big difference from playing football down there and seeing football up here.
Yeah.
So
Plus the timeline.
timeline.
As far as back then compared to time now. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to go into those differences for me?
You got to be nicer now.
Gotta be nice.
That's what I see.
Yeah.
I mean, I've worked for 2 universities, and the coaches drove the guys. I watched them at practice sometimes, and I saw the games, and they're not allowed the abilities they were when I played football in high school. They were a lot meaner.
A lot meaner.
Well, coaches weren't as nice. Let's say that. I mean, they wanted you to do something, and they gave you instructions to do it. I mean, we were dying one day, and we wanted to get a drink of water. We were allowed to get one swallow of water. That was it. If you didn't, the coach would snatch you out of the line, and you'd be put back in the, to do something you didn't want to do, like run up the side of a viaduct.
So viaduct.
That's the side of where an overpass goes over a road. That
Okay.
slanted area.
Okay.
Run up the viaduct, yeah.
Okay, so your practice field is kind of close to a highway then?
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, coaches would just yell more. It was a lot more physically intense, do you think?
Yeah. But, you wanted to take and do good. I mean, they instilled the thought process in you that you didn't want to be number one. You don't want to be number 2. You want to be number 1. You wanted to take and do the best you could. You wanted to start. You don't want to be second string, And we had a lot of players, people that played football in my high school. It was a small school. I can't remember exactly how many we had in my graduating class, but it wasn't 35, 40 people, I think. But we had 4 grades. It was 9 through 12. So, and everybody was eligible to play football if they wanted to.
Okay. So you mentioned you worked for a couple universities. What universities were those?
I worked for the University of Arkansas and the University of Nebraska in Lincoln.
Did you notice a difference between high school and college football?
Yeah, like I said, the college coaches, it's not as bad as it was in high school. When I say that, I mean it's because in high school there's no money involved. There's no esteem from being the head player. There's no Heisman Trophy for being the best guy on it. It's just you want to do what you can for your school. You're doing the best, so your school could be number 1. And in high school, it's that's the way it is. But in college, it seems more like now to me that they're working towards I want to make the best I can so I'll get drafted because I'll make a lot of money. And I mean, to me, it seems like a lot of sports have leaned that way. Basketball, football, even some soccer things.
So what was the 76 season like? Like, what was your
undefeated except for 2 games?
Were those against your rival school?
No.
No.
Rival schools. Well, they had a quarterback. So. Oops.
So, what position did you play in football?
When I played, I was offensive line, defensive tackle.
Okay. So
I came off the field very little. I was 265 pounds. I moved good, could run pretty fast. I was pretty darn strong, and they needed people like that on both offense and defense. I came off very few times. Unless the score was like outrageously overstacked, we were beating the pants off somebody, and then they would just snatch all the first string out and stick all the second string out and see if they could let them get some practice.
So was the drive for football, was that pretty much contained to the high school, or did it spill over into the town? Did the whole town get into it?
Oh yes. Homecoming night, the bleachers would be filled to the max. Most of the games, home side was always filled. If we traveled and went on the road and we were at a away game or something, we always had a large following that would go to the games. They would take and pack school buses. If people didn't want to drive, they'd take and organize it where they'd take the school buses and go.